So this year's IPL 2022 was amazing, especially with 10 teams coming into the four, and there was more than 70 games that was played, which made it even more fun to watch than compared to the previous years. And talking about the teams, Chennai and Mumbai, the heavyweights of the IPL, they couldn't perform according to what they had been doing the previous years and according to their legacy. Chennai Mumbai, what their main fault I felt like was in their auction, which affected their batting and bowling lineups. And I think all of the other teams were absolutely brilliant. Their team combination, their bowlers, batters, everyone did a fantastic job and was very, very good to watch. So I think this year's IPL was very good to watch, as I said before, because of the crowds that was there. Because in the last 2 years, if you look, there were no crowds because of the COVID restrictions, and after all of that was lifted, a huge amount of crowds were there in the stadiums that were played in the games that were played in India. And I think that definitely boosted the morale and the confidence, and totally motivated the players to come out and perform well. All the teams and their players, they were excited to come out to the stadiums. They were extremely determined and motivated, energized by the crowds that were present there, who were cheering for them. And again, talking about the young players, I think this year was something just so special for all the young players who came into the fore in the IPL. There were so many young talents that we saw. So many of them impressed us, and especially, I mean, if you look at the notable players, you could talk about Devil Brevis, Tilak Verma, or Imran Malik, or Arshdeep Singh. So many of them. I mean, they played very difficult roles for their teams, but always performed in those pressure situations as well. Talking about Omran Malik, first of all, I think he was brilliant. He was superb, and with the kind of pace with which he was bowling, it was just beautiful to watch. And I'm sure he's going to be a great talent for India in the future. And again, talking about Arshdeep Singh as well, it was just amazing to watch him do what he did. He always bowled in the pressure overs. He always bowled in the death overs for Punjab, which is always difficult to, and he executed his Yorkers and his slower balls, and all of them really well. Had it not been for Arshdeep Singh, it would have been very difficult for Punjab to reach at least in the top 6 or 7 position like they did. And next is Abhishek Sharma and obviously Rahul Tripathi as well, both of them who played for Sunrisers Hyderabad. I think they did a fantastic job as well. Abhishek Sharma opening the batting, he did a brilliant job. It was him who gave the perfect starts for Sunrisers in every other game that they played in the power play. And later, when they lost a couple of wickets, Rahul Tripathi came in and he just played his natural game. He was superb. Every time he came in, everyone just believed that he could get the team to a winning position. And next, talking about Tilak Verma, an absolutely brilliant Indian talent. He's just a very young guy, 19-year-old. He's done a superb job as well for Mumbai Indians, who had a very bad season compared to the previous years that they've played. But Tilak Verma has been the biggest positive for them this year and for the future as well. He came in always in the difficult moments in the game, and he always performed. It was always so much pressurizing for him to come and perform every other game, but he did, and he ended up as the highest run scorer for Mumbai Indians. But not to forget the massive contribution of someone called Rajat Patidar, who came in as a replacement to the RCB. He was absolutely brilliant in the last few games that he played in the playoffs for RCB. He contributed the majority of runs, and that's what makes him special, especially in that game where he scored 100. It looked so unlikely for RCB to win from that kind of a position, but he always looked in control, and he always believed, and he took the team to the qualifier too, and he performed there as well. It was always difficult. Again, as I said, they lost a lot of wickets in bundle, but Rajat Patidar, he stayed there and he performed very well for the team. And as I said, he's a very talented guy. He can play all the shots that's there, and he hits spinners really well. The way he plays against spinners is just a treat to watch. So talking about the captains, MS Dhoni and Rohit Sharma, I'll start from Chennai and Mumbai first of all. I think talking about Dhoni on the other hand, I think CSK were they started off on a very bad note. They lost 3-4 games in the beginning itself, and again towards the middle of the season they had to change their captain, and lot of problems going in and around the field, so that kind of affected the performance as well. And again, we know how MS Dhoni as a captain is. He's got that cool mind, and he's always amazing on the field and always motivates and supports the players. I think that was what we saw towards the end of the season. CSK came back to what we call as their best. Talking about Rohit Sharma, he as a captain, we know he's again a brilliant captain. He's won 5 titles for Mumbai, but all of that comes to the end of the season wherein he could not get the best out of every other player. Though they got pretty good players in the auction, all of them, they could not get the right combination. They could not get the right batters and bowlers to perform for their team, and as I said, he could not get the best out of every other player in the team. Talking about Punjab Kings captain Mayank Agarwal, again, this was the first time Mayank Agarwal was handling a very big position such as the captaincy role, and especially for a big team like the Punjab Kings in the IPL. But again, that not only affected his batting performance, but as a team, they were very low on confidence and they could not perform that well. Yes, towards the end of the season, they did perform, their batters performed, their bowlers came in really well, all of them contributed, but Mayank Agarwal as a batsman could not really do that well as what we have seen in the previous years. Probably the captaincy pressure just got into him. Next, I'll be talking about Rahul, the captain of Lucknow Super Giants, and Rishabh Pant from Delhi Capitals. I think what I felt common about both of their captaincy was that they made a lot of mistakes, a lot of tactical errors while captaining, which led to their defeats in most of the games. I mean, these are very small margins in cricket, but they make a huge lot of difference towards the end result of the game. And talking about Rahul, I think as a captain, while batting, it's feel like the whole team is dependent on him, and that's what he tries to do the whole time. Instead of batting faster and quicker, he tries to bat longer, which has affected the team and the team's games most of this season's IPL. And talking about Rishabh Pant, he's not been able to contribute to the team's success in this year. Most of the times, he's gotten out to very, very bad balls, which you did not expect him something from like Rishabh Pant. And again, talking about the captaincy, as I said before, there are these tactical errors that they kept on making the whole season, which made a huge lot of difference to where they ended in the team table. Next, talking about the Sunrisers captain Kane Williamson. Kane Williamson was a pretty good captain, not bad, I could say, but the thing with him was that they could not perform up to the mark. As I said, they were pretty inconsistent. They won 5 games on the trot, but they lost again 4 games as well, back to back, which obviously dented their confidence. And they could not perform according to what we saw. They were a very good team, lot of talented players, but they could not perform as expected. Next was Shreyas Iyer, the captain of KKR. I think he did a brilliant job as a captain, as a batter. He was brilliant. But I think as a team, they could not perform because they had a very, very good, talented amount of players. But the performance was just so not as expected. Especially someone like Venkatesh Iyer, who performed really well last year, performed really well for India. But this year, his performance was just so below par and very disappointing to see, and just surprised to see him in the Indian team as well. And many of them, so many inconsistencies in their batting and bowling lineup. They made a lot of changes as well, just so much cutting and chopping in their batting lineup and bowling, and they just kept on changing their playing 11 in every other game that they played. Again, injuries also affected them as a team, but they just kept on cutting and chopping a lot of the players, which affected them as a team. Okay, so now talking about Faf du Plessis, the captain of Royal Challengers Bangalore. I think they were very, 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 very good team. They were brilliant. I think as a captain, Faf du Plessis did a very impressive job. As a team, they were very good. They were very well balanced, but again, very inconsistent as well, especially in their batting. And talking about the 3 main players that they've got in Virat Kohli, Glenn Maxwell, and Faf du Plessis, they just were very disappointing towards the end of the season. They could not contribute as much as we expected them to. They are obviously great players, but they could not perform as what the team wanted them to. They were exactly, I mean, as I said, other players also performed for them, but they need a collective effort to win. And they came till the playoffs. They played the qualifier too. They lost that, unfortunately. But again, as I said, they're a very unlucky team. They needed a very great win to go into the finals, and unfortunately, they did not. And talking about one of the most impressive captains of the season, Hardik Pandya, the captain of Gujarat Titans. I mean, it was amazing to see Hardik Pandya in a captaincy role because you've never seen him play a role like this, but he was the most impressive, I could say. And they, as a new team, Gujarat Titans, they kept their position going in from the beginning of the season. They just finished the season in the top. They were there in the top from the beginning of the season, and as I said, every other player contributed to their win and to their success in this season. There was not one player who did not contribute to their success. Every other player for every other game was extremely, extremely impressive for them. Next, talking about Sanju Samson, the captain of Rajasthan Royals, again one of the most impressive captains of this season. He was a very good captain. He was a very cool-minded, very calm person, and he always helped the team's cause. And it's not about hitting those big 50s and 100s, but it's about hitting those very small, valuable runs which make a huge difference to the game and the win. As Sanju Samson has been doing most of the time this season, it's not him hitting those 50s and 100s. He has been scoring these very quick runs for the team, which has been very helpful, and it not only reduces the pressure but also lets the other batters to who are there to come in. Sanju Samson as a captain made very quick runs for the team, which made easy for the batters to come to quickly score runs and reduce the pressure of the batters who were there. For example, talking about Joss Butler, when Sanju Samson came in, he would score those quick runs and obviously reduce the pressure of someone like Joss Butler, who would go on to score big runs for the team, and that was totally helpful for them as a team and helped them, bring a lot of success in their campaign. And obviously, they've reached the finals as well. And obviously, Sanju Samson has got the special attachment to Rajasthan Royals. He's been playing for them for so many years now. He knows the heart and soul of Rajasthan Royals. And again, obviously, talking about someone like Shane Warne, the first Royal, they're obviously doing this for Shane Warne. After every win, they kept on saying that they wanted to reach the final and they want to play the final and win the final just for the man, just for one man, Shane Warne, their first Royal. And I really, really hope that they perform very well in the final and win the title for Shane Warne. All the best to both the teams for the final, and hope the best team wins. And obviously, cricket is a game which only one wins and other loses. So all the best to both the teams.